and welcome to the return of the Three Legs, Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with...
Sean.
Chris.
And Kieran.
I'd forgotten which way round we were.
Yeah, same. I was going to say, I'd always remember following you, but not Sean, so I'm guessing that was it.
I'm going to say, if this was Radio 4's Just a Minute, you'd have both been buzzed for hesitation then.
Are you sure I'm a radio presenter? Or sure I work in radio? I can't remember what it was now.
For anyone that wants to know more of that, there was a Patreon show this week. We thought we were only doing 15 minutes, and it turned into a little bit longer.
Just a bit, yeah.
But have a listen. You will not believe what certain members of this podcast and their associates have been up to. If you're not a Patreon subscriber and you want to find out what it's all about, just go to patreon.com/3legs4wheels and donate anything from £1, $1, €1 or equivalent upwards, and you will not only get the show early, but you'll get the Patreon shows when we actually get around to doing it. It's our first in about 6 months, isn't it?
Probably about that.
Yeah.
No.
It's been, like the song went, it's been a while. Anyway, it's been a while since we did this, so let's get back to talking about F1. There's been quite a bit of stuff going on while we've been away.
We're going to need some context. When did we last do one?
About 6-7 weeks ago.
What's that in race?
Oh, before the triple header. So we've had Max losing his temper.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think we did one after Monaco because it was just that dull.
Yes.
Was Monaco bad this year? Oh, it was for stupid Monaco. It was the I'm going to go really slowly to... Yeah. Oh, that was a shame.
Yeah, I mean, F1 are trying to improve the Monaco Grand Prix. I don't think that's the way to go about it.
They need to... I've said this before. They need to use the reclaimed land that they've just done. They've now incorporated that bit of land. It's there. It exists. They need to look at doing something else with the circuit.
Oh, Alex Verts came out with a few ideas, didn't he? Including remove the first chicane or the chicane down at the end of the tunnel.
I think he had I think he wanted to level large parts of Monte Carlo.
Yeah. Hands up here who's got a flat on this corner. Okay, you had a flat on this corner. Yeah.
But yes, there was the absolute farce of the Monaco Grand Prix. Like I said, I remember Max losing his temper, and
Bortoletto did a really good overtake and then got excited and crashed on the next corner.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, we've had the triple header. Canada, there was things going on there, wasn't there?
Headless thing.
Headless groundhogs.
Yeah.
McLaren decided it was 2011.
Deciding to take each other out again. Yeah, Lando had a momentary lack of brain cells.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Lando pulled off one of the moves of the season, didn't completely pull it off, and then decided to pull off his front wing and tyre against
Did we just gloss
rear.
over Spain entirely?
That was Mad Max, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was Mad Max.
Sorry.
And yeah, of course, when they did the traditional driver's meal photo for the Austrian Grand Prix that's just gone, they had the Spanish highlights running in the background, and they had Max sat right next to the screen.
And no Stroll.
Yeah. And Stroll didn't turn up to that one.
And we'd also
which is in his character, not turning up.
We'd also like to congratulate Kimi Antonelli on finishing school.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Yes,
yeah, good point.
As well as his first podium.
Yes. It's been quite a month for him.
Yeah, well, and it's not come to the best conclusion.
No. And then there was a film.
Yes.
Oh, you completely glossed over the Alpine screwdriver set there, Paul. I mean, that's the big news, isn't it?
I will repeat exactly what I said when it was posted in the group. I saw that about a day before it got posted in the group, and I went, "Oh, cool!" And then I went, "No, wait, no, it's not."
That's how they get you to buy this shit. You go, "Oh, it's got a logo on it. I'll have it," and then it's like, "Why? How is this benefiting me in any way?"
It's also about £200, and it's only got 4 bits.
It's So that's 50 quid a screwdriver.
Basically,
Fucking
yes.
hell.
That's disappointing.
If anyone has bought an Alpine screwdriver set, please send us a review.
Yes.
How do you review a screwdriver? It tightens, it loosens. Like, what else are you needing from it?
If you've ever seen anything on the channel Discovery Shed, then you'll know the answer to that.
Also,
I guarantee you there's a YouTube unboxing of a fucking screwdriver. I can guarantee it.
you are talking to the people who did an unboxing of some chocolate hobnobs.
Yes. And
That's
remains
still
this
one of our-
podcast.
Yes.
Still one of our
It
most
is.
viewed videos as well. I was going to say, given the actual build quality of the Alpine cars, do you think that is a good advert for their own brand of screwdriver?
I mean, the screwdrivers probably see a lot of action
No.
in the rebuilding of the cars.
Maybe that's the problem. They've sold their screwdrivers.
Yeah, that's
What,
it.
they've left themselves
suddenly
with none.
All right,
I mean,
someone stick the engine cover on with the
what?
tool. You know, the tool. Where? I can't.
I mean, we sold them because Flavio wanted more money.
Amazing. I've just gone to the website and it's on sale at $85 or 4 interest-free payments of $21.25. Imagine being 3 months down the line going, I've nearly paid off my Alpine screwdriver. Just one more payment is mine.
If I had a job these days, I'd still probably not buy one.
I can't remember what we paid for screwdrivers, but I think it was like maybe 15 quid. I don't think it's an expensive thing to get.
I think we paid 15 quid for a rechargeable one with a dad's like more than 4 bits.
Yeah, but like we've got normal screwdrivers as well. And
Yeah.
they were not pricey.
I think we once bought a screwdriver about a year ago because we'd lost the other one. And then when it arrived, we went, we'll stick it in the tool bag. We opened the tool bag and there was the other screwdriver. It was like most obvious place it was going to be when you think about it. That's silly.
So by lost, you'd mean tidied.
Yes. we placed exactly where it's meant to be the thing that we'd lost.
Excellent.
It was never in the freezer. What was I thinking? Sorry, there was a film.
There was a film that came out. Some of us have seen it once.
Yes.
Yes.
One of us has seen it more than once. So I think he's in the best place to review it, Kieran.
Well, hang on a second. Do we just want to just say, if anybody wants to avoid spoilers, I think, Paul, you should put an edit in now so as to tell the people who don't want to know where they can skip to in the podcast that doesn't talk about the movie after that point.
That's a very good idea.
I will put a marker on.
Should I set a 5-minute timer?
Wait a second, we know how good you are with timers.
Yes, it'll never stop.
Because somebody set a timer.
I'm good with an alarm.
Because before we started recording tonight, somebody had set a timer to go get a can of Coke out of the freezer. Went to get the can of Coke and forgot to switch off the timer.
Sorry about that. That did that make it into the Patreon?
No.
No.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Yeah. Because it's just a minute of my timer. You don't need
It
that.
felt like more than a minute.
If I hit go on a timer, we can tell you to fast forward 5 minutes from now. It means we have to summarise the F1 movie in 5 minutes.
And the spoilers start now.
Now. Okay. So, yeah, that was a film.
Well, it was something that was shown on cinema, and it was made using cameras and a script with lighting, with lighting and direction. So yes, technically that does count as a film. Obviously,
Cameras, lights, direction, yeah. Script?
Script is heavy, and it's liberal use of the word script, isn't it?
I mean, if you don't mind some plot holes and some very obvious devices to tell a story
the plot
with.
holes were probably the most entertaining thing. They were probably what held my attention the best because I was then trying to spot the mistakes.
Can I just say, hopefully the production designer is going to be coming on the show in the next couple of weeks.
Well, it's not all their problem, you know.
And that's why I give it 4 stars.
No one person is at fault.
No.
It's not a movie for F1 fans, is it? If we're being honest.
What I'm going to say is, if you want to sit there and you want to take your brain out, eat popcorn, and watch a film that involves Formula One and is entertaining, then then absolutely go and watch the F1 film. If you're like a super duper F1 fan who's got to analyze everything that happens in the film, it's not for you.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Bearing in mind, I would say probably about 95% of our listenership are super duper F1 fans that like to analyse everything, or at least listen to us over analysing everything.
We're not pick up any casual strays who've gone, sorry, well, I don't know it, but let's have a little listen to this. Maybe they'll talk about that screwdriver I just bought.
Incidentally, I thought the production design was brilliant.
Oh, best thing about it was the visually fantastic. The car looks great, even though it's a modified F2 car. They've done it perfectly. It makes you believe that it is a Formula One team. What it doesn't do is it makes you believe that Formula One is real.
Yeah, I think
I think that if... Go on, Chris. Sorry.
I was going to say, I think I called it elasticated reality.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, completely. I think if you are a hardcore F1 fan, I recommend going to see it. I'd say this to my dad. He wasn't planning to see it. I said, I think it's worth seeing. If, the cinema down the road is cheaper than the actual nice one. That's the way to see it. Because if you're a hardcore F1 fan, there's two ways to approach it. Firstly, go in knowing that it's going to be mostly nonsense. You are going to get annoyed by it. So just enjoy the entertaining bits. Or the second way, and this is what I did on Saturday, having already seen it on Wednesday, have a day to yourself where you're doing nothing else and grab a ticket to go see it in 4DX with all the wind and the rain and all that.
Unless you live on the Isle of Man, because we don't have that here.
There is also that, yeah. I'm very lucky that I'm quite near Milton Keynes and I can just jump 2 stops on the train and walk round to the cinema. But it's... The 4DX experience, I don't think I mentioned this in the Patreon, did I? We go into quite a bit of detail on this in the Patreon. But the 4DX experience is funny. The chairs don't move up and down like they do with like Spider-Man and Superman and all that, but you get the full array of other effects, including...
So hang on. If I've got to pick a hole in this somehow. Right. So Formula One, during a race... the driver is mostly sat down, in a chair that is moving. Mm-hmm. Spider-Man and Superman aren't known for their
sitters,
sitting.
are they? No.
Yeah, but, the camera moves them flying around and your chair goes,
Yeah, but in Formula One, you're in a chair going at 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, you'd think you get a little bit of, but you don't. You get a tiny bit. There's one bit where I think Sonny Hayes, does he punt Lewis or Lewis punts him, and your seat kicks you in the back. You go, ow, fucking, that's mean. I paid good money for this. During the champagne spray, it rains on you. I found that quite entertaining. And the wind's quite nice, especially given how hot it's been of late. The wind's quite nice. It's good aircon. And our water was off at the weekend, so I considered bringing my shower gel and a towel.
I'm just waiting to go see Spider-Man Far From DFS.
But yeah, it's a film.
I knew that there were going to be holes picked in it, but I have a 4-figure sim race kit upstairs, and I still play Mario Kart.
I think Kieran's alarm just went off.
That is the alarm, I'm sorry to say.
I knew it.
What, that I play Mario Kart?
No, that I'd hear the alarm.
Thus endeth the spoilers.
Yeah, so no spoilers, but from this point on. But what I would say is that it's a film. It's not designed. It's not. You cannot put the complex stories and every little detail of Formula One in 2.5-hour film. You just can't do that.
You can't put it in a 10-episode Netflix series either.
Exactly. So condensing it. That's a great way of saying it, because you can't. So condensing it into a 2.5-hour film to tell a story, which is what that is. It is a story with Formula One being part of it. That I think they did that very well. It's just that like I said, if you're a hardcore F1 fan, it might not be for you.
While we're on the 2.5 hour thing, I personally found the runtime long. I'm just gonna throw it out there. It could
I
have been
did
a
as
good
well.
45 minutes shorter for me.
But that would have meant
Yeah,
taking a lot of the racing sequences out, and that's kind of the point of the F1 film, isn't it? Otherwise, it would have been man wakes up.
Careful now, careful, no spoilers.
Yeah, man wakes up. Man does things that don't involve cars. Man drives off.
I don't think it's a huge spoiler when I say there probably could have been fewer jogging scenes.
Yeah, but don't forget.
Yeah, I think that can go.
Yeah, but don't forget. There's a Top Gun sort of connection with this. So that was their topless volleyball.
See, I've only ever seen Top Gun once, and I don't remember it.
I would also, and hopefully this doesn't go into the realm of spoiler territory, but we didn't mention it in the Patreon. We didn't mention it in that 5-minute gap. Could you not be smarter about writing ladies into a film?
This because you could get me going a bit too much here.
Yeah.
It's just, all right, well, here I am. I'm a bloke, and we're all blokes, and I've just run over something. Whose fault was that? It was the
girl.
woman.
You just know as well. Someone in F1 thinks they've been really inclusive by having a female technical director and a female tyre change at pit stop, and has not thought about how clunky those characters are.
Again, for the next 10 seconds, turn this podcast off. Good.
You're in charge. You're stupid. I know better.
Yeah, and that one, I'm going to shag that one.
Yeah,
bloody film.
She's a technical director, but hasn't actually thought about how a car can follow another car. But we'll just put her in the role anyway.
But if I say if Brad Pitt says he's going to do it, you're going to build that bloody car, aren't you? Now that Brad Pitt's turned up on the scene.
To be fair, all this is in the trailer, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, God, I'm going to see this again in a couple of weeks, my mate Ollie.
Are you half of the box office for this film?
Yeah, I'm 72 of the 144 million that it made on opening weekend. They're rinsing me dry.
I knew cinema was
64 grand in the hole.
I knew cinemas were expensive in the UK, but Christ, I didn't know it was that much. So that is some of our thoughts on the F1 film. Like I said, if you want to hear more ranting, listen to the Patreon show. In the meantime, there has been a Grand Prix in Austria, and
most recently,
yes, as recently as yesterday, at the time of recording. Right, how dominant are McLaren now?
Incredibly so.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, to be able
I just
to
have to sit there and go, is this a spoiler? No.
Yeah.
No,
to be able to push.
No, they replaced it under the red flag.
Right.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
literally.
Yeah, it was.
Sorry.
For McLaren to be able to push like that on such a short circuit and still finish, what were they, 20 seconds ahead of the Ferrari of Leclerc? That's pretty dominant, given that they appeared to have absolutely no tyre issues at all. Ferrari were being told to lift and coast roughly 25 laps in, something like that, just after the first round of stops.
I mean, we didn't have we didn't have a competitive Red Bull at the pointy end, but Max had been complaining that the car was crap all weekend.
It's coming into sort of the phase we were in this time last season, isn't it? Where it was Red Bull who sort of, with Verstappen, that was the quickest, and you'd see who else was kind of going to show up on the weekend, but it varied. It wasn't sort of consistently one or the other. McLaren overall ended up being, but you had like a few races where Mercedes were the nearest challenger, and then Ferrari had a good spell, and it seemed that it was always Verstappen plus someone else.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where it is now. It's McLaren and who's going to be second this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, what was it? 19.8 seconds Leclerc was behind Lando. So yeah, effectively as good as 20, and then Lewis another 10 seconds further down the road.
But Ferrari didn't think they had a bad race, and that's very telling of how dominant McLaren are. I mean, we said there's no pointy end Red Bull, which would obviously have been Max Verstappen, but even Christian Horner said after the race, he said, "I think we'd have given the Ferraris a good battle, but we'd have got nowhere near McLaren."
Mm.
He also had a few things to say about McLaren as well. Piastri managing to make love to Lando's exhaust.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting choice of words from Christian Horner, but
Don't point the finger.
I'm not trying to.
Yeah, I don't, but we know Horner's not a fan of anyone that isn't, well, him. And yeah, it appears to be that McLaren have caught his ire this week. Mm-hmm. In other words, it's full on Whinger Spice again.
I mean, Red Bull aren't first on the list, are they? Williams are first on the list, but I mean, it was the Red Bull Ring, and Red Bull had an awful race.
Anything that could have gone wrong went wrong.
Yeah.
Yuki was struggling with the car all the way through Friday and Saturday, and then struggled even more on Sunday. But we'll do Williams because
The traditional order.
the double DNF.
Well, one of them wasn't a DNF,
Well,
technically.
it was a DNS and a DNF. Yeah, Carlos burst into flames. The car just spontaneously combusted. It looks like the brakes got stuck on when he was going to go.
I think that's why he couldn't get off the grid, was it, in the first place, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was saying he was in first, but the car wouldn't move.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, I think his brakes were locked on, weren't they? That's why they caught fire. Because he drove round a lap, basically, with his brakes on.
yeah, which isn't good for them. Yes, it'll warm
No.
them up, but it probably warmed
Bit
them
too
up a little
warm.
too much.
It looked like his rear wing had, like, partly melted.
Yeah, that was. I can see why they said to him, we're done. And then Albon kind of got retired without anyone really noticing. It was just like, oh, he's in the pits.
Yeah,
He's been there a while.
I think they said it would require further investigation or something like that. They weren't immediately sort of particularly clear on what it was.
Have they released anything yet?
I think they've said it was power unit, but carefully so they don't upset Mercedes.
Yeah.
Been a lot of those.
Yeah, I've not
Mercedes
seen
failures.
Yes, haven't they?
Yeah.
Mercedes failures that happen to everybody who, funnily enough, isn't Mercedes.
It's a coincidence, is that? But yeah, one to forget for.
Have McLaren had one yet?
That's a good point. I don't
Actually,
know.
no.
I'm not entirely sure. Let me have a look and see what the DNF rating is for this season.
I think Oscar has finished everything, and I think Lando's only sort of issue was Canada.
Yes, you would be right. So no, McLaren haven't had an issue.
No.
It'll happen. And to be honest, we don't know if Aston Martin have or not because they're just that slow.
Alonso has had a couple of DNFs, hasn't he?
Yeah, Alonso's had an engine failure, and I think Lance Stroll had a problem as well.
That
Mainly
could be
that
user
he's
error.
Lance Stroll.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went for second gear and it just wasn't there because they didn't bother fitting it because they didn't think he'd ever go fast enough to use it. But yeah, technical gremlins more than we normally get. Right now,
Yeah.
Red Bull, like I said, Yuki had didn't have anything resembling a car under him, and nothing seemed to work. Max was unhappy with the entire setup of the car all the way through qualifying, which is the first session that I actually got a chance to watch vaguely closely, and then gets wiped out on turn 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we take Verstappen and the fact that he DNF'd out of the race, and you look at Tsunoda's performance, finishing last, I mean, obviously he did get a 10-second time penalty.
Yeah.
Do we actually think that's where the Red Bull car is between Williams and Alpine?
Yes, but it's hard to get any genuine data, isn't it? Because the car has been built in such a way for one particularly brilliant talent that the other semi-decent, well, decent enough talent is getting nothing out of it because it's not built a way that he can drive. It is the Cinderella slipper again, isn't it? That no one can do it. So it's sort of, there's 9 F1 teams and then there's whatever the fuck Red Bull are doing at the moment.
So if Verstappen were to walk away from the team, do you think they'd be in this much trouble every race?
They'd rebuild the car in a different way, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think that's it. They could move away from the Verstappen driving philosophy and build something that works like the RB.
Yeah,
I think they'd still be 4th minimum, maximum rather.
Yeah, they're running out of time to do that because they're gonna have to make a decision. Or Max is gonna have to make a decision where he's gonna go next year.
So I think they were saying Max under contract next year, but it's the year after.
Yeah,
he could be on the market.
I think, is he not under contract to the end of 28?
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
I think there might be an option. I think is that one like both sides have an out.
Yeah,
if they want.
And of course, they're well publicised depending on where he is in the Drivers' Championship in the summer break. I keep looking for a drink.
Yeah.
I've finished it.
I think if he makes it, I've done the same.
I've got my big
not
bottle.
Good, hot day. If he finishes badly in the championship this season, let's say he does finish third, I think that he made a very good point that if Max had survived turn 3, it's probably third in yesterday's race. That's about his genuine pace times driver ability at the moment in this year's championship. If he finishes third this year and the Mercedes engines are so good next year that he could finish 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, then he is very much on the market in 2027. And Mercedes are going to have to figure out what to do with George Russell. Aston Martin are going to have to figure out both of their drivers because they are not going to want to turn down the opportunity even just to get a sniff at Max, let alone actually signing him.
Yeah, I mean, which one do they get rid of? Because, I mean, Lance is there as long as he wants a seat, but nobody's entirely 100% convinced that he wants to be in that seat.
He doesn't look like he wants to be there, does he, ever?
He looks
Not
like
anymore.
He looks like his dad's holding him hostage and making him race. Well, making him turn up.
Fernando's signed till the end of next year, so he's set. Yeah. Lance, I mean, you
Fernando's
can very easily pay him off.
Fernando's not going to go back to Enstone until 2027 at the earliest.
No. So, you can't. They're not going to get rid of Alonso for next year. I don't see them getting rid of Lance. But if Max is genuinely going to stick 2 fingers up to Red Bull and go, sod it, I'll drive anything else, then I think they pay Alonso off. It's madness, but I think they pay Alonso off.
I think Alonso and Verstappen as a pairing as well would be difficult to manage. Because you would have to say Verstappen would be there as team leader.
Yeah, it would be the first time since probably 2007 that Alonso wasn't team leader.
And even then, I think he went into that team as team leader. Obviously, the season played out how it played out, but yeah, you would have to accept if you're Alonso and Verstappen is your teammate, you start the year as the number 2.
Yeah,
and of course, with the current driver situation at Alpine, Gasly's fairly safe, and the second seat is open to discussion. And all of a sudden, Alonso's on the market. And Flavio's in charge.
I don't know if Alonso would want it.
I don't think anybody wants that second seat at Alpine. And if I was any driver, I know Bottas has been linked today with that seat at Alpine, I wouldn't take it if I were him. It's you may as well just sign it's the death knell in your Formula One career right there.
Yeah, but you'd get a really cool set of screwdrivers.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
God.
don't even know that you do.
Yeah, we sound good authority, but they're cool. I don't think they are cool. I think the second you put a car-based logo on any merch which isn't specifically car-related, you're immediately a dick.
Ferrari,
No one wants the Super Aguri umbrella.
Ferrari cufflinks.
I'll tell you
The
what.
Ferrari cufflinks.
I'd have a Super Aguri umbrella because if that is still functional at this point, that is a fucking solid umbrella.
That is a good point. That is a
Yeah.
fantastic point. Yeah. Well, Anthony Davidson's got 3 dozen of them in his garage, so...
Does anyone who drives a Ferrari wear Ferrari cufflinks, or are they just driven by people that want to make it look Joey syndrome?
Yes.
Make it look like
Yes.
to drive a Ferrari.
Yeah, no, it's a very good point. But there's...
If you, just to throw this one in, if you're listening, Vish, yes, I'm talking about you.
We've also had the story today of Paul Aron, the fact that he's one of the 400 Alpine junior drivers and reserve drivers that they've signed, and yet he's not. He's had to swan off to Sauber to get his FP1s in. Mm-hmm. Even he doesn't want to drive the car. They've got 3 slots left for Alpine junior drivers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is hilarious because they signed him at the beginning of the year after Mercedes were like, yeah, maybe not anymore, mate. Then Alpine were like, okay, yeah, no, we'll sign Paul Aron up. He looks pretty good. Yeah, Paul Aron, you want to be in? Yep, you want to be in? You're in? Cool, yeah, Paul Aron. We've got Paul Aron, ladies and gentlemen. Then we're not even halfway through the season. It's just like, do you want to go Sauber?
Yeah.
I mean, don't forget, they're going to have, what, 4 FP1s participated in by rookies.
Yes.
And given the loose description of rookies this season, Fernando is probably going to do an FP1 for Alpine.
Bring back Kubica again.
I mean, Liam Lawson's doing great in his 3rd rookie season now.
I suppose as well for Sauber,
when-
they haven't got a huge amount going on their program, have they? So they probably did need someone.
Yeah,
But it's interesting that it's someone who's on another program rather than just signing someone unattached.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are 19 unconnected Formula 2 drivers this year.
Wow.
And they didn't pick up a single one of them. And 2 of the 3 which are Alpine. Kushmini and Gabriele Mini, they're Alpine as well.
How is
They couldn't
Kushmini
ship them off
Because
because
Red Bull
I
got
don't
rid of
know.
him.
No, I don't think.
because
I don't
whoever
think
his
he was with
manager
Red Bull.
is has done a
His
good
manager has done a
deal.
fantastic job there.
Did
Is
they
it-
sign Gabriele Mini and then got Miney by accident?
Maybe misspelt it.
Yeah. Oh dear. I was just remember actually. There's a couple more drivers. There's Luke Browning and Victor Martins at Williams, aren't there, and stuff. But yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Lindblad as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, there's quite a lot of drivers, but you've got people like the Shaw, who isn't at a F1 team.
He's been in
And his
Formula 2
championship
since I was a
leader.
child.
Yeah. He's currently. I don't know if this is a true stat. I did read it the weekend. For the first time ever, the F2 championship leader is older than the F1 championship leader.
Oh
Fucking
my
hell.
God.
In the fact that the Shaw is about 9 months older than Piastri.
I think for sure was in F2 before Piastri was in F2.
Yes, I know, Chimes.
Just to jump in and hark back to Kushmini, how is he in Alpine? Miney is mentored by Mika Hakkinen.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but we're not seeing a huge amount of that.
Yes. Is he being mentored by Mika Hakkinen in 1990? As opposed to-
Yeah, back in the,
Mika
back in
Hakkinen
the
is not
Lotus days.
associated with Alpine. Mika Hakkinen does things
Yeah.
for McLaren.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah. Oh dear. I said on our chat the funniest thing that Alpine could do right now is get rid of Colapinto and nick Alex Dunn from McLaren, because Alex Dunn ain't getting in that McLaren unless Norris and Piastri have a major bust up where they can't work with each other anymore.
Or one of them gets appendicitis. That appears to be the
All
thing.
that. Good point. Yeah. That is reserved for Williams drivers, though.
Yeah, fair. Fair.
If I was Luke Browning going into the Williams team, I'd book surgery now.
Just get it whipped
done.
out.
Yeah.
Summer break, all sorted.
Actually, no, get it whipped out. That's the Red Bull motto for Horner staying in charge. Anyway.
Did anyone see the sorry to interject again, because we haven't even touched the team really, have we, so far, but the Kimi Antonelli one-off on Netflix, The Seat.
Yeah, I've seen it.
No.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. It's good once you get past the fact that they are trying to jam WhatsApp in at every single opportunity.
Yeah, I think WhatsApp produced it, didn't they?
Yes,
The whole thing is a WhatsApp advert.
Yeah, it's a 40-minute WhatsApp advert. And after I watched it, I did turn to Jane and say, well, they're not making the Red Bull WhatsApp story, are they? So, you know. The old horn dog. Still saved in my Dropbox under the title The Old Horn Dog.
So, moving swiftly on. Actually, no, not moving swiftly on, because it is the great provider of screwdrivers and bad reserve drivers next. Alpine, prime candidates for participation award.
Well, Gasly definitely is prime participation award candidate. Colapinto did things. Most of them were bad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, God, he was awful.
I mean, he was penalised, and the like, penally is not the right word.
What's going on over there?
I don't know. He drove like a dick.
Yeah, well, yes. But yeah, he was the subject of a penalty, and was on the receiving end of a penalty move.
That was just brilliant.
Penally is a word now. I'm going with it.
He gets overtaken by Tsunoda. He's only fighting Tsunoda. The only car he can see in front of him is Tsunoda. But his fight or flight instinct went, well, better defend from the car, which definitely wasn't behind me before. This random car, I don't know who it is, but let's try and force them off the road.
Who's this bright orange car behind me? Someone help. I'm being overtaken by someone who's not in this race.
That's why the F2 cars made it on. Well, better defend just in case.
I don't know if the radio message from Piastri was genuine or not, and I really want it to be, but Alpine's still fucking me over after all this time.
Yeah, I believe that was a genuine message.
Christ.
Fantastic.
Colapinto appears to be the latest F1 vampire that is scared of his mirrors.
Yeah, it comes to one driver every couple of years or so, but the problem is Lance Stroll, it came to him in 2017 and it's still with him.
Yeah.
Because Max had it for a while, Seb had it for a long time in his downfall at Ferrari, but now it's Colapinto.
As a mate of mine once described this particular way of being on track, has all the racecraft of a walnut.
Sebastian Vettel was actually scared of his mirrors for a time, wasn't he? If you remember, he just any time there was somebody in them, he just span.
Yeah, that was it.
Yes.
2018, second half of the year.
Spinella.
Yeah, could have won the championship that year. Didn't.
Was leading when he had his sort of breakdown.
Yeah, to finish first you've got to keep going in the right direction.
Am I right in thinking Gasly qualified top 10?
Yeah, he was in Q3, was completely anonymous and finished 10th, but
was there,
and then just wasn't.
So the Alpines are officially in trouble. And I think I said this about Alonso at the start of the season, that the Aston Martin wasn't a very good car, and Stroll's got 14 points. So Alonso might not even reach 14. And okay, 3 races in the points in a row, and he's gone right on level with Stroll. So I was a bit wrong there. But Alpine have only Gasly's points, because Doohan scored nothing and Colapinto's still on zilch.
Yeah, that car is doing nothing.
They got 11, is it? 10, 11 points. And all the teams above are just driving away. Haas got a point in this weekend. Sauber got 6 points this weekend. They are double and some their current points tally away from 9th. Now, they could have finished 9th last season, but for the, let's say, very fortuitous bit of rain that they had at Brazil. Are we actually going to see them finish 10th this season without a major upgrade?
Yes, and I don't think we're going to see a major upgrade.
Or a shenanigansy race.
Even with a shenanigansy race, you've got to be sort of in the right place to take advantage of it, and the Alpines don't seem to be there because they either qualify badly or qualify well and then just go backwards.
Well, Gasly started well, didn't he? Because he was on the softs and picked up a few places, and then I think once he switched on to mediums or hards, I can't remember which, but just didn't work.
Well, that is a driver that started 10th, had 2 people in front of him get biffed out, goes up to 8th, has Albon in front of him who breaks down, goes up to 7th, but he somehow finishes 13th, was it 12th, 13th? So the Alpine on the hard and medium tyres, or this grade of hard and medium tyres that used at Austria, just don't work.
Yeah.
They don't work at all.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? Came in for the softs on lap 12. Came in to get rid of the softs on lap 12. And just did stuff all after that.
Just kind of drifted backwards from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, once again, I'd just like to say that Alpine, the second driver is not the problem. Changing that driver won't make a difference. There's something wrong with that car, with the team. Maybe they're waiting for the 26 reset with the Merc engine. Who knows?
I mean, they've had the same team principal for more than 3 weeks, which is unusual for them. So
have they got?
They have team principal. No, they haven't. They've got no team principal.
Yeah, I'm not sure situation vacant is stability.
I mean, they have a responsible adult as well.
No, they don't. They have a Flavio. That's not a responsible adult.
Well, no, they've had to put.
One of the guys.
Dave. What the fuck's his name?
Greenwood?
Greenwood.
No, it's not Greenwood, is it?
It's got green in it.
Yeah,
I always mix him up with the cycling bloke.
Mark Cavendish.
That is Dave Greenwood. Anyway, Dave from High Tech is a nominated responsible adult.
High Tech Grand Prix. If this is a problem, so Dave from High Tech is the nominated responsible adult, and he's from High Tech. Who, when we last podded, we discussed that the previous team manager down at Alpine, Ollie Oakes, a name I nearly forgot, was doing dodgy shit with his brother, William Oakes, allegedly. I should say allegedly before we get sacked.
Well, William was the one doing the dodgy shit because he got arrested.
Yes.
Just to confirm, man's name is Dave Greenwood.
Oh,
it is. Right. My apologies.
Dave Brailswood.
Brailswood
is who I'm thinking of. Yeah,
that's the other one,
man.
Cycling and Southampton FC for some reason.
Oh God! Don't mention them.
Oh, sorry. I mean, I don't support either Southampton or Portsmouth, but I stay politically neutral on the Isle of Wight from that debate. I went over the water every year to watch Fulham get stuffed by them, whoever it was, Portsmouth or Southampton. So yeah. Yeah, so if I was down at Alpine and I've seen my team manager come in and have to leave because of something high tech relating to his brother who's also involved in high tech, I wouldn't sit there and go, any more of those high tech people that we can try for again. I might just look at Campos, take a little look elsewhere.
I think Dave Greenwood came in with Ollie Oakes, but obviously had nothing to do with whatever it was that went on at High Tech. So it's just stayed at Alpine, even though Ollie Oakes has left, and he's now the nominated, as I said, designated driver. He's Des, basically, even though his name is Dave. Yeah, so that's where Alpine are at. That is a huge problem because look at where they are. Like, in a race where only 16 cars finished, neither of them got on the points.
Well, and that is from one driver who started in the top 10, saw 3 cars disappear in front of him, and didn't remain in his 7th, sure, but didn't remain in the top 10. And got done by 2 Saubers.
And their other driver can't actually see where Alpine are because they're disappearing in his mirrors and he doesn't use them.
Yes. Did we think the penalty was fair for Colapinto?
Yeah, I think so.
What was it, 5 seconds, was it for Colapinto?
I think it was
10 for Tsunoda.
I think it was 5, and I thought that should be a lot stronger.
Oh, really?
For defending, I think he should have got minimum 10 for nearly taking out someone lapping you.
I suppose the difference between the two would be that there wasn't an actual collision with Piastri.
Yeah.
He went off track a little bit, he kicked up some dust, it won't have done his tyres any good, but the car was intact, whereas with Tsunoda, he actually punted Colapinto.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, 10 seconds for a punt is fair.
That's fair, yeah.
5 seconds for an iffy block that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
I think, 5 seconds and sit on the naughty step for an hour and think about what you've done.
Yes. Despite the fact that you are 75% of the current income to this team.
Yeah.
Which is Alpine never more than an overdraft away from being cash strapped, are
But
they?
wait until all the screwdriver customers come after this episode.
Oh, yeah. Want commission.
Yeah. Just use affiliate code 3L4.
Don't, because that's not going to get you anywhere.
Could you imagine if we got a...
There is no affiliate code for any
if we managed to get, that would be brilliant. That would be absolutely fantastic.
If there's any screwdriver manufacturers out there that want to make a 3 legs 4 wheel screwdriver set, we will happily sell our souls.
We'll happily sell what?
No, he's not on the show anymore.
Oh.
Should we do Haas?
Yes. They had a good race.
Yes.
They did. Looked like double points were possible at some point, but I think did Behrman sort of drop off towards the end and just with the
yeah.
This sounds like a very unusual thing to say, but with the pace of Hulk, there was no passing it.
Yeah, they're one of our sort of one-stoppers.
I don't know. They were playing the team game, weren't they, Haas? I think Behrman dropped back to make sure Hadjar couldn't attack Ocon and that they got at least a point. Because I think they saw what was going on up ahead with Hulkenberg, Bortoletto, Alonso, and all that mess, and thought that if they come together, we might get double points here, but we've got to play it clever. But it was a bit too safe, and instead of joining in with the melee, they decided to settle for a single point.
Yeah,
but that's fine. That's a perfectly acceptable way of going racing.
I've just gone onto the F1 website to look at the pit stop tracker, and I've so far had to click off 2 adverts for the movie.
Once for each time you've seen it.
Yeah, you're the last person that needs that advertising to you.
Both Hasses 2 stopped. Behrman was the second driver to stop on the softs on lap 11. The first being Hadjar on lap 2, which we'll get to shortly.
Yeah. So I was just looking up the screen times for this weekend for the F1 movie. Yeah, Behrman stopped on lap 11. Okay, that sort of rings a bell. So yeah, just fading tyres because he had them on for 31 laps at the end.
Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, fairly decent race for Haas, 10th and 11th. Better than Alpine, put it that way.
Yeah, take it. It's another point, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is a particularly good track for Alpine. I think that I was about to say Grosjean, not Grosjean, Chandhok. Kurun Chandhok said in the pre-coverage that they started 12th and 16th last year and finished 6th and 8th or something like that. So it's a decent enough track for Haas. They came 4th here in their best ever finish some years ago. To qualify 15th and 17th and still get a point is very Haas this year. Poor qualifying, fantastic strategy, saved it in the race.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that pretty much sums up their season, doesn't it? Right, where are we next? Racing Bulls. Hadjar in 12th. The Gambler starting on the softs and pitting him after 2 laps, waiting for a safety car.
Well, there was a safety car.
Are expecting to do better under the safety car.
I assumed they thought other people were going to stop under the safety car.
Yeah.
And didn't. And he kind of got shuffled to the back of a pack that everyone else was still in.
Did he have a little bump with Colapinto up at turn 3 when all of our eyes were looking at...
Oh, did he?
He got forced wide at one point on turn 3.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Which I suppose would play into an early pit stop, wouldn't it? If you're on the softs anyway, that won't help them.
Although I think what happened with him was he was getting out the way of he was getting out the way of Antonelli because he was just raging through on the inside.
No, I think it was Lawson that was directly in front of Antonelli. I think he said afterwards, when he did his bit with Sky afterwards, he said he saw Antonelli coming and thought, oh, well, this is this done. And then he went past.
Yeah, I actually... People are going to shout at me for this, but I actually slightly blame Liam Lawson for the accident. It was Kimi's fault, but the fact that the cars braked where they did so early, I think Antonelli should have gone to the outside. He didn't. He went to the inside. What's going on?
We have a cat attempting to produce a hairball.
Yeah, I'm just going to hit pause.
Okay.
Right. Well, we'll hit unpause there because of a hairball incident which never happened. Right, where were we?
I was blaming Liam Lawson slightly for Kimi Antonelli sending it down the inside into Verstappen.
Yeah, they did brake monumentally early for turn 3.
They did. It was Antonelli's fault. I'm not trying to say it was Liam Lawson's fault. Antonelli should have gone to the outside to go round everyone, but he went down the inside, and that was the wrong decision. But Liam Lawson did appear to be on the brakes very early going into that turn, even earlier than some of the drivers in front of him, but which obviously you have to do, otherwise you run into them. But it was a lot earlier than it should have been. However, Antonelli should have anticipated that situation. He did not. Yeah. Rookie error.
Yeah, I just want to quibble with the naming of that corner because turn 2 is not a turn.
No.
It's a little tiny kink that you probably don't even have to move your steering wheel for if you've got the right line.
Yeah, they say it's 10 turns, don't they, on that circuit? That's incorrect.
Yeah, it's about 5. The whole track is basically a DRS zone, isn't it? It's all just straights and
pretty much.
And it's a great track. I really like it. Just watching the start back again. Lawson also is a reason why Bortoletto is on the runoff at the exit of turn 1, because Bortoletto has a perfectly fine start, but Lawson gets out of shape, gets some understeer, and then he has to Bortoletto has to basically abort the corner and drive on.
But Lawson did kind of rescue himself this week, and he was the best placed Red Bull backed car.
Yeah, outqualified Max. Only took 9 more races to demotion, but you got there.
Whisper it, but he's in a better car.
And yet there's still speculation about whether he'll finish the season.
Yeah. He has overtaken Tsunoda in the championship.
Oh, wow, okay.
12 fat points to Tsunoda's 10.
But he's in a better car.
I think it's probably the first weekend since Lawson went back to RB, though, that we've seen him sort of outperform Hadjar.
I think so, yeah.
Also, clearly, well ahead.
Hadjar's been brilliant, hasn't he? So
yeah.
Hadjar's had 2 rough races because he wasn't all that in Canada, was he? He finished about 16th.
I mean, he wasn't all that in Australia either, but...
No, but... neither were... Oh, actually, no. Hadjar's teammate at the time was Tsunoda, wasn't it?
Yes.
So, yeah... Hadjar's bookended the last 12 races with shite and brilliance. I think, arguably, he's the rookie of the season, but I think this next 12 races we're going to see a much better Antonelli than we've seen in the first 11 or so. And that's maybe there's a bit of recency bias because Antonelli decided that Max Verstappen shouldn't be in this weekend's Grand Prix very early on. But Kimi's been very, very good. And I think in 3 years' time, we've got a serious superstar on our hands. But this year, I think, pound for pound, Hadjar's been the better driver.
Well, I mean, now Kimi
He's my rookie of the year so far.
Now Kimi doesn't have the extra worry of getting his homework in on time.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
You know, he might actually be able to focus for the second half of the season.
Yeah.
Right, on to what was my team of the weekend, Sauber.
Yeah, I think everybody's team of the weekend. I mean, what a brilliant performance. So, Bortoleto, I'm just going to say it. I called it early doors and said Bortoletto's going to make Q3 for the first time, and it's exactly what he did.
I think the predictions of yourself, Chris, this weekend are something to be marvelled and studied at. They're brilliant.
Well,
in our little chat
not necessarily
group.
all of them,
unless you're Carlos Sainz.
Yeah. I got the Sainz prediction wrong because of Williams. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
I said that Sainz would finish in the points ahead of Albon. That was incorrect.
The driver of the day, Sainz, and then 5 minutes later he was on.
Yeah.
Fire in the pit lane.
Yeah, so I did say that Bortoleto would do well. I remember he started off. We started the weekend off well on the Friday, and I thought he's replicating what he did last year in F2. And I remember when I was watching him in F2, he had an amazing race at Austria, and then I was like, wait a second, in F2 did they say that he had a really amazing race in F3 the year before? It's like maybe he's just really good at this circuit. Turns out he's pretty good at this circuit, yeah. So absolutely brilliant performance. Okay, yeah, I mean you can argue that a couple of cars that should have been in front of him and at one point fell out of the order, but you can only do with what's in front of you, and he absolutely did that. But Paul makes a good argument for Nico Hülkenberg having the better drive.
Yes, absolutely. There's an asterisk against Bortoleto, sort of. His start, I've had it on loop about 20 times now. Bortoleto gets caught up in the Max Kimi crash, has to take to a runoff, and by the time he's returned to the track, Gasly and Albon has done him. Gasly is sixth. He's in sixth place. That's a disaster for Gasly.
That makes Gasly's race performance even worse, to be honest.
Yeah, it's awful. Bortoletto's down in eighth. So yeah, he's finished where he started, but there were better strategies out there. Unlike Hülkenberg, who, again, I have to get the pit stop thing up again, but he's played a blinder.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I mean, starting at the back and ending up ninth.
Yeah, I mean, from the race start, he was 19th. Yeah, from the race start, he was 19th. Obviously, Sainz didn't take the start, but I mean, he's still in the 20th slot on the grid, and he finished 9th, which in a Sauber is a heroic drive. Let's be honest, that's brilliant.
Yeah, also, I think Hülkenberg is he the quickest pit stop of the weekend? I think he is.
What was his pit stop?
He's
not. Piastri did a 2 flat after McLaren's first couple were a bit shite.
I'm looking at the total pit lane time, which I think is a problem. Colapinto wins on that basis. No, Hülkenberg, quickest pit stop of the weekend, 21 seconds, 0.045 total time in the pit lane, if you look at it that way. So he pitted on lap 11 very early, same as Behrman, and then he did a masterful second stint of tyres, didn't pit for another 31 laps, and then stroked him to the end to come in ninth.
Wow.
When others were losing their tyres around him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he just... he's the kind of driver you can rely on to do things like that. I mean, we've constantly made the Hulk in seventh jokes. Mm-hmm. But every time he gets up to a position like that, he hangs on to it.
Yeah, he's done really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, you're never going to win a
Start
championship.
20th.
You're never going to win a championship with him. But you are going to get points out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very reliable. He started 20th, lost one straight away because of Sainz, lost 2 because of the crash, up to 17th. I'm not even going to include Tsunoda and Stroll, up to 15th, let's call it. Mm-hmm. And then you've only got one more retirement ahead of you, which is Albon. So he's made up 5 genuine places, brackets not including Tsunoda and Stroll, from drivers who were relatively decent. Mm-hmm. There wasn't anything wrong with Ocon. There wasn't anything wrong with Behrman. Hadjar didn't have his best weekend, but he was competent and near the points. So he's overtaken a lot of people.
Yeah,
he's only finished 15 seconds off. 16 seconds off of Russell.
It's not bad.
I mean,
It's
that
impressive.
that is not bad. You can see why Audi want him for next season as a old sensible head.
Yeah, he's someone they'll be able to learn a lot with for when they're then ready to.
Yeah, and if it is Bortoletto that he's with next season, then hopefully it's a better car.
Yeah.
And we all want that podium to happen, don't we?
I think so. Yeah.
For Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to. It was like when everyone was waiting for Mika Häkkinen's first win. And all right, it took Michael Schumacher trying to murder Jacques Villeneuve for it to happen, but...
Yeah, it was a tiny bit of a freebie, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it kind of unleashed the floodgates.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
Didn't do too bad after that. Right, Aston Martin.
The only reason I put Aston Martin ahead of Sauber was purely because of Alonso, and Alonso being that typical Alonso drive where he somehow manages to stay ahead of cars he probably shouldn't have stayed ahead of.
Superb defence work, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to making your car 1.5 track widths wide, he's always...
Yeah, Alonso's the man.
Yeah, he has always been the expert at that. But, Lance Stroll, God.
There was one point in the race where I message group saying, hold up, like lap 53, why is Lance Stroll last on softs?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
What's going on there? What strategy was that?
There was one point, I think it was just before the first pit stops, where he was right behind Alonso. And feck knows what happened.
And
we know what happened. It was
everybody stopped in front of him, but he was still 20 seconds behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, he somehow dropped an entire pit stop, didn't he? And like Kieran says, he was running last, and I was like, wait a second. I know Tsunoda's got a 10-second penalty, but what is going on with Stroll?
Yeah. He was aiming for the one stop, I think, because he appeared about lap 27,
He's not
lap
the man
28
to do
or
that.
so. And then he came in again, he did 27 laps on the medium, sorry. Then he did a shorter stint on the hards and did nearly as long a stint on the softs.
Oh, bloody hell.
That's a sod it, we'll try everything tactic.
And nothing worked.
No.
He really doesn't want to be there, does he?
It doesn't look like it, no.
Yeah, mentally he's at Wimbledon, isn't he? He's not there.
Yeah, I think just for his own sanity, let him go.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not helping the team. I can see this causing problems with Adrian Newey.
Big time, because Newey needs the feedback.
Yeah, and possibly Honda as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not going to be happy, are they?
Yeah, they're going to come out and say, we're busting a gut to get our engines back to where they've been before, and we're working with Adrian to do this, and
you're giving us that.
You're giving us one driver and one person who gets in the car.
Yeah.
And I think
fantastic.
I was going to say, the pressure on him next year is going to be even worse, and he has crumbled under pressure before, and I think he'll just end up. He's going to have a Latifi-esque season.
Ooh.
Yeah.
He's going to go back to being everyone's favourite Canadian barrier botherer.
I just don't see what every single episode we talk about this, I just don't see what we're doing. We're in year 9 of the Lance Stroll experience, and I'm not getting any return that I wasn't getting in year 3, year 2. What was the fantastic Instagram post that, was it Chris? He shared the Instagram post about the qualifying record.
Yeah.
It
Yeah, how many? Yeah, was it the times he'd been outscored by his outqualified in the head-to-heads with his teammate? So he's lost out to every teammate he's had,
apart from one. Was it Paul de Resta?
Yes.
The week that he stood in for Massa, who had the squits.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he outqualified the rest of 1-0, but. Everybody else, he's been out qualified, but it was the numbers that got me. The last slide was Alonso, and it's just like Stroll 8, Alonso 47. I was like, oh no, that's terrible.
Make that 48.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was Friday you sent that.
I mean, we're looking at
even Sorokin out qualified him.
Oh God. I forget Sorokin even existed.
Yeah, he's very much the sort of, he's the, Charles Pic was in F1, wasn't he, sort of driver. He's just... Yeah, so Sorokin was in for one season, did Stroll, and Stroll's a bad qualifier. We know this because he's got the record of the most Q1 exits. But generally, if you're a bad qualifier, the reason you're still in F1 is because you're a semi-decent racer. And we have seen races in the last few years under the Aston Martin badge where Stroll has turned a 14th into an 8th, 9th, 10th, something like that. He's currently turning 16ths into sod it, pit for softs. What else can go wrong?
Hasn't it? It's been a while, hasn't it, since he's had one of those like good races?
Yeah, he got
5 years.
Australia. Yeah.
5 years is his last good race.
I mean, the Monza 2020 when Gasly won, that is a blown win for Stroll, isn't it? He should have won that. He blew it. The Squoval, did he do well on the Squoval when Perez won? Was he on the podium?
I think that was his last podium.
Yeah. Congratulations, you can do Mario Raceway.
I mean, he's literally just making up the numbers.
Yeah, sure.
Right, Mercedes. A very quick one on Antonelli because he was a little too quick and then too hard on the brakes.
Yeah.
Is that the first kind of that style of rookie error we've actually seen from him, though, where he just kind of barrels in and makes a mess?
I think it is.
He made a mistake in Monaco in qualifying, didn't he? Where he broke his wheel rim.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's that's a proximity error. This was just. We saw Max do it when Max started. We've seen other rookies do it. I'm pretty sure Lewis Hamilton probably did it when he was a rookie as well. I can't call it to mind where it would have happened, but he definitely ran into the back of Kimi Raikkonen at Canada at some point.
In the pit lane?
Yeah, in the pit lane, yeah. It happens. Every driver misjudges things, and it's going to happen more often when you're a rookie. And I'm not excusing it. It was completely Antonelli's fault, but I do feel like Liam Lawson played a part in it.
Yeah.
I think it was one of those, oh shit, everyone's braking. Maybe I should as well. Oh fuck.
I mean, Kieran, you've just watched the start about 20 times.
I've got it on again here, yeah.
So if you watch it again, if you watch it from the sky, from the helicopter, you'll see that it looks like Lawson slows down before anyone else.
Yeah, he does. He has to completely jink out of Lawson's way. He has to veer to the right and then stamp on the brakes. I think it might be a case, and this might be inexperience and not having correct reaction times, but he has to spend so long getting out of Lawson's way that he can't brake until he's out of Lawson's way because he's got an Alpine right on his arse. Yes, that's exactly what happens. He gets out of Lawson's way and then goes, oh shit, there's a corner here, isn't there? It would have been good to see that from Albon's on board because Albon is down here about 13th or so when that crash happens, and then the whole road just opens up in front of him. Albon must have had a really bad start because he does, yeah. So the crash happens, Lawson has to avoid it, Bortoletto has to avoid it, Gasly gets a bit unlucky, and Albon goes, oh, cheers. Yeah. A bit like Ocon in Hungary that time where second to 13th crashed and he went, oh, okay.
Yeah, but literally the road opened up in front of him, and he went, "Okay."
Yeah, similar. So yeah, shame for Antonelli, but these things happen. Every rookie gets a couple per season.
Yeah. So does that mean Lawson's allowed up to 6?
A strong finish from Liam Lawson. I feel like we were a bit harsh on him earlier. I just want to say he had a strong finish.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It was a good. Yeah,
He did. I mean, sixth place is nothing to be sneezed at, especially in a racing bull.
Mm-hmm.
He also didn't get lapped, which meant that when the McLarens came to nearly trip over Bortoleto and Alonso, when they were fighting, he got into the distance and he didn't end up in that whole squabble because he was the last of the non-lapped people.
Nice.
So that was a little fortuitous, but it's from his own driving.
Yeah.
Other side of the Mercedes garage, George Russell. Great at the start, challenging Lewis, looked like it was going to be a bit of a decent battle, and then spent the rest of the race participating.
Yeah, a very anonymous race for George Russell, which is strange. I know they said they'd suffer in the high temperatures, and I actually thought that George Russell might go backwards during the race, but he didn't. He sort of stayed exactly where he was after the first couple of laps. I did think it was interesting in the battle that he had with Hamilton, and I did not expect Lewis Hamilton to stick that overtake on George Russell. I was like, no, Lewis, what are you doing? And then, all of a sudden, the Ferrari was in front. And I was like, Jesus Christ, how did you manage that?
Yeah,
that was a real watch through your fingers moment.
Absolutely. It's not somewhere you should overtake like that early in the race. But
did the job,
I don't know how much. Oh, it did, yeah. I don't know how much of that was Russell in Leclerc's dirty air and how much of it was the Ferrari or Hamilton's skill, but either way, it put Russell down 5th, and that's exactly where he stayed for the rest of the race and didn't seem to have an awful lot more to do.
There was nobody near him. He didn't have to defend. There was no chance of catching the Ferraris again, and one of those lonely races.
Yeah, there were a few had quite lonely races, weren't there?
Yeah.
Over there.
I mean, the next one up did as well, because Hamilton kind of dropped off the back of Leclerc once he got away from Russell as well, and he was in his own gap.
Yeah. I feel like we should probably jump to Ferrari, but I feel like Lewis Hamilton didn't have when we saw him at the end of the race, looking at the timing screens, I thought we were going to get a slightly disconsolate Lewis again, like, oh my god, look how far we are behind McLaren. But Ferrari seemed to think they had an all right race. Obviously, Fred had to go home on the Saturday, so that he wasn't there for the race. But Hamilton seemed quite cheery. So, 4th was okay. I know I was a few seconds behind Charles, but that was due to the strategy. I had to keep my tires going and lifting and coasting and that. I know Charles was doing some of that as well. But yeah, we wouldn't have got anywhere near McLaren's today. So I think we've done as good as we could possibly do. And I was like, that's unusually chipper for a man who's just finished 4th and hates finishing 4th.
I imagine he probably expected Russell to be ahead of him. He probably expected Verstappen to come through at some point. So, yeah. 4th is probably higher than he had expected.
He was probably expecting to be fighting for 5th or 6th. He did say that he'd got a brake issue and he was having to manage the brakes from pretty early on in the race. And it's something that's inherent with the car, which he still doesn't like.
Yeah, he did say that there was something in qualifying as well that they found with the brakes that the team themselves didn't like, but they know what it is. They can work on it. So who knows? We'll see what happens in Silverstone this coming weekend.
Yeah. What Lewis is also doing is having his car set up more like Charles's car, where there's a lot more oversteer, and he says that he's not a fan of it, but he seems to be getting more out of the car with it, and he's having to adapt his driving style.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the fastest way to get Ferrari around the circuit, then brilliant. But at the same time, Lewis has been second to Charles so far this year. I don't think anybody expected Lewis to put Charles away straight away. But But once again, Lewis hasn't gone there for this year. He's gone there for the 26 rule change, and at some point, Ferrari are going to have to drop the rope on this year to concentrate on 26. Because I feel like they're still they still think they can get something out of this year. Whereas I really think everybody else is now starting to look at next year, and just sort of, this is where we are. And even the teams at the back are just like, okay, it's fine. This is where we are. No more upgrades. We're just going to concentrate on 26.
Yeah, I think Ferrari will only get something out of this year if McLaren take each other out.
Which is likely, given how close they race each other.
Yeah, which could happen. Taking nothing away from Charles, it was a good, solid third.
Absolutely, it was. Yeah, really good performance.
Yeah, was never going to pass the cars in front, but like George and Lewis, was never going to be passed by the cars behind him. I think Charles's Ferrari was the third fastest car on the circuit, and it definitely showed in the results. He didn't do anything particularly noteworthy, good or bad. Just had a solid race. Too good for a participation award, I'd say, though.
Maybe Lewis did that overtake at the first sort of lap against George, and then didn't do anything.
I don't know if it's a participation award. Is there like a category of we successfully attended the race and got everything we could out of it?
Oh my God, I've just seen a stat. So I'm just going to interject here with a stat.
Oh my God, stat.
An oh my God stat. Last three races, RedBull Racing, 19 points. Last three races, Sauber, 20 points.
Oh, damn.
Oh,
That is an oh my God stat.
yes. Wow. Bloody hell.
It's not great, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this is just a hark back to Perez last year, isn't it? Where like Perez in the last 6 races, 2 points. Max Verstappen's penalty points in the last 6 races, 3 points. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well done to Max for
Being crashed into rather than crashing.
yes, and now losing 2 penalty points off his license, so he's back down to 9.
I mean, that's still only one good incident away from a ban.
Yeah.
And it's quite a lot. Is it
I
Mexico,
imagine there's a bit of
his
Max
next one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is 8th of October. I think they
It's a
come off
long
something
run
like
to
that.
behave yourself.
If
Yeah,
I
it
was,
is.
if I was Max, I'd be sitting there going, "Oh God, I wish I had done something. It's Silverstone next, and they all fucking hate me." You don't want to miss your home Grand Prix in Austria. Actually,
Yeah,
given
there is
how
an
that
element
went,
of
maybe
that,
you
isn't
did.
there? Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine if he had messed it up in Canada, got banned for this race, and the replacement, let's say Hadjar, goes into that car, and Antonelli biffs Hadjar out. You'd be well pissed off, wouldn't you? But if you'd done that in this race, caused an incident, got your ban, and gone, oh no, I do not have to go to Silverstone, where when I was off to hospital, they were cheering. I think he could probably skip that one.
Yeah.
And apparently, after Max got knocked out, he didn't watch the rest of the race and watched the end of the 24 hours of Spa.
Fair. Not on bloody Sky Sports Mix, he didn't.
What is the point of showing the first 22 hours of a 24-hour race?
No,
Not
they
the
didn't,
last
did they?
Yes, they showed the first 22 hours of the 24 hours of Spa, and then for the last 22 hours, at 20 hours 22 to 24, they showed golf.
That's awful.
And they had another golf event on their golf channel, so fair enough, but they were showing highlights of some shite on Sky Sports Action. They had a channel that was doing fuck all.
God, it's like when Sky Sports F1 used to show the F1 show instead of the F2 race.
Yeah.
And you cut into the F2 race 6 laps in because they were playing
Yeah.
Formula Hit Johnny Herbert with an axe.
There's a safety car and half the field's out, and you've no idea why.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they
Oh,
used to get...
well, back in those days, it was probably Johnny Chicotto.
Yes.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So that leaves us with McLaren. I don't know what happened there.
Did you lightly touch that Glock?
I lightly touched something.
We didn't hear it.
No, didn't get it our side. Which might be a problem in a few minutes' time.
We may not have time for one tonight.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
But yeah, McLaren. Only iffy thing was the what was it they called it? The marginally borderline move that Piastri tried to do on Lando at turn 4, where he locked up and T-bone was nearly on the menu.
Yeah, it was a lunge, but the thing is, had he scared Lando into making a jink move out because he thought he might get hit, it would have been worth doing because then the race would have been on for the next few corners. But Oscar obviously had to come clean and say, "Oh yeah, no, sorry about that. It was my fault. That didn't really work." But I think I know what he was doing, and that's exactly what I think he was doing, trying to scare Lando into making a defensive jink, so that Piastri then had the better run out of the corner, and probably the next DRS zone or two would have got him. But it did not work out that way.
Yeah, there were a few incidents, weren't there? Well, not incidents, but there are a few moments in the pre-first pit stop phase. Like, Piastri did get past Lando at one point, and Lando immediately got him back.
Yeah.
But you were thinking every lap, it was possible.
Is this the one? Is this where they both take each other out and end up together? Yeah.
The overtake was possible. We were anxious. We were watching it anxious. And I was sitting there going, like, don't worry, honey. There's only 58 laps to go. Oh, shit. God.
But the lunge was kind of the moment, wasn't it, that sort of put Piastri out of DRS, and then they made a different
tyres.
They made a different decision on his pit stop because of that, and then really the gap closed towards the end. But I do feel like Lando was managing it a bit towards the end of the race.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of things here which didn't really work very well in the timeline for both Lando and Piastri. The second that Piastri locked up, Lando came in the pits. Great move. It means that he has to do one extra lap because you're the lead car on a really flat-spotted tyre. Great move. Then Piastri extended on that flat-spotted tyre. The old let's have 4 seconds and a bit of tyre delta turned into 6.5 seconds.
McLaren were crap with the pit stops.
Did they say they had some, like, there was a lip in the pit lane, so it sort of bounced the cars as they went into their pit box?
Yeah, they went over where the weighbridge normally is, and it sort of made him. Lando was kicking in at the last second, but Piastri was going for the full run-up. So he was very bumpy, Piastri.
Yeah, but I mean, they both had problems with the front left.
Yeah, probably because they weren't in the right spot.
Yeah. I blame that front left tyre person. Probably a woman.
Oh, she didn't.
Now,
she didn't leave a wheel gun in the pit lane.
With no context, maybe the most sexist thing I've ever said. Watch the F1 movie. Please, for the love of God, watch the F1 movie and don't cancel me. Then, in the last stint, Lando, I also thought Lando was saving a bit of pace, but then he went on the radio and said, please help. I thought, I don't like that. Really don't like the sound of that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of that is to do with mind games because he didn't look overly worried when he got out of the car, or towards the end of the race. So I think he had it under control. But it's just another 1-2 from McLaren, which is good news for McLaren. Obviously, great news given that Red Bull didn't score any points whatsoever. I mean, they're kind of almost out of the title fight now. So it's between McLaren and McLaren. It's going to be difficult for Max to get any points back, even in the Drivers' Championship. I don't see anybody challenging McLaren in terms of the Constructors' Championship now. I think that race really was the final nail in the coffin for everyone else. Not even halfway through the season, are we? Until after Silverstone.
Yeah, it's about right.
That is the halfway point.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's catching McLaren in the points.
Yeah,
and it's one of those.
Even Helmut Marko saying that another title this season is very unlikely, which for a normal person would be the staringly obvious, but seeing as he refuses to admit anything.
Yeah. So I mean, it's one of the McLaren drivers for the world title now, isn't it? As well, which we've suspected for a while. But I mean, that's just look at their pace in Austria. That's just ridiculous.
And I think there's going to be some circuits coming up that are going to suit that car just as well.
Very
Well,
much.
Silverstone always eats tires, doesn't it? Silverstone like chews through them really badly. So if they've got a really great way of keeping their tires cool and not chewing through them somehow, and as having phenomenal pace, then we can only expect a repeat at Silverstone. Same again at Spa. Same again at Monza. There's a lot of those kind of circuits coming up in the second half of the season.
Yeah.
It will work very well for McLaren to get a really good pit stop window gap. You know, the sort of like we had this weekend where the gap was sort of Russell to Gasly or Bortoletto, to get that gap of 10 seconds where they can plop someone in. That's what will win them the race. If that gap doesn't appear, they're going to have to manage tyres, and then they've got a bit of a problem, because then it's the concertina effect. Of course, this is if the weather doesn't go as it plans at the moment,
just
which
looking
is,
at the weather forecast.
I believe is it dry on Friday and then iffy beyond that?
Saturday,
Wet
Sunday looking mixed, not sort of torrential, but maybe the odd bit of drizzle. But we're still a few days out, aren't we? So.
Oh yeah, just as an extra onto the concertina effect. Just want to give a shout out to one of our racing lot, Chris Palmer, who occasionally forgets what words mean and how to speak human. And rather than concertina effect, he described it as a crash centipede.
I like that.
They had a crash millipede down in F2, didn't they?
Just a bit.
With
Yes,
the
it is. Yeah.
cordial spinning and everyone else going, "Can I come?"
And then the recovery truck being like, "Fuck your bridge."
Which brings us nicely on to Rockstars and Wankers, and the recovery truck driver definitely being in the wanker category for forgetting how big the truck is and how big the bridge isn't in comparison.
Yeah.
But
It's like I was saying in the chat group earlier that he's lucky that happened in Austria and not Britain, because if it was Britain, the bridge wouldn't have landed on the ground before people were going, "Way! Wanker, wanker, wanker."
just
just
want to say that he did set a new record for the Porsche Super Cup. It was the first time in recorded history that the track had to be repaired immediately before their race rather than immediately after.
Fantastic.
They were a bit rough as well with Verstappen's car.
Oh,
They literally picked it up like it was like some banana skin on the ground or something.
Picked it up on the train
fished
and
that
it
out of there.
bounced.
Yeah, it was. I think one of them had to sort of grab onto it. Like, oh, hang on, there's a swaying F1 car here.
yeah. One on the wankers list, the fire crew. How long does it take to put out a small grass fire? Because they did it about 10 times quicker in Japan.
I think they said they were damping as well, so like they were wetting the surrounding.
Pre-extinguishing.
No, that's a rubbish term. You can't do that.
Wetting the
It's
grass.
not a real thing.
Are you surprised at Japanese efficiency, though?
They will have the technology they
it.
will have will be.
Yeah.
Because we're at the Red Bull ring here. Red Bull will be like, there's a bit of fire on the side of the track. It's just more extreme. It's fine.
Yeah.
We'll pull it out.
Everyone ice skating through it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rockstars.
Sorry. Rockstars and wankers.
Yeah.
Rockstars,
McLaren.
Lando.
Sauber.
Yeah, McLaren in general.
Absolutely Sauber. Actually,
Can
I'm
I
all of
put
it.
somebody in both categories?
I'm going to go
Of course.
Sauber and Hull
Oh, Gene Simmons.
as
Yes, hang on.
Rockstars.
We've got
No,
Gene
I'm going to put
Simmons
somebody in both categories. I'm going to put Bernie Ecclestone in both.
fair. Entirely fair.
Right, Rockstar for being there and handing out podium medals, which were his idea in the fucking first place. And but wanker for why the fuck are you there? Because this doesn't seem normal.
Did he not say he was
Rockstar
doing,
for attending,
he was
a
doing
wanker
the
for
medals for MBS because he couldn't be there?
Yeah, that
It's-
got
it's
mentioned,
big,
didn't
it's
it?
big wanker effort.
So you got
yeah.
the emeritus.
Yeah, to be honest, I was half expecting Bernie to turn up as a special guest of Rod Stewart at Glastonbury.
Similar political views.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Similar age.
Yeah, good for Bernie at the grand old age of 168 to be able to. No, was he 93 now?
Something like
that.
94.
And yet looks twice the age of David Attenborough, who's 2 years older.
He's 5 years older, isn't he? Yeah, terrifying, isn't it? But credit to him for still turning up. I think. Yeah, I think very few people in their 90s are jetting off from Brazil to Austria.
I doubt he's going with like Ryanair, though, is he? Like, this is going to be a different version of how half the people get there.
Or Buzz.
Or Buzzer.
Yeah. He's not going on Buzz Air. That's a good point. God, were we recording that bit? I don't know if we were.
I don't think we did. No.
I think that was Patreon. Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
It
might even be beyond Patreon. That was a stopgap. So yeah, well done to Bernie. Gene Simmons did him up, I guess. That's the case.
About the same age as well.
Yeah.
Right. Have we got anything else? 'Cause I don't know if we've got time to fit in his that Glock because the hour is getting late here.
No. It's 400 degrees and I'm ready for bed.
Yeah, and I've got 2 shows to edit. If you want to send in an Is That Glock, I've still got a couple left kicking about, but drop us a line, 3 legs 4 wheels at gmail.com, and I can pick those up on the email. And I've just realised my laptop battery's about to run out because it's come unplugged somehow.
Oh, dang.
Oh, well, thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
How about to run out is it? Is this like a hit save now situation?
No, it's a plug it.
Situation.
Is that like an accident? An incident?
We're having that.
It's
an
a
incident.
Shitty incident.
It's not an incident, it's a situation. I love it.
Yeah.
No, I had about 10 minutes of battery life left, thankfully. So, yeah, if you want to do an Is That Glock, 3 legs 4 wheels at gmail.com, or if you just want to get in touch with us. If you want to hear our Patreon ramblings, which there were quite a few tonight, patreon.com/3 legs 4 wheels, and you can get us on the socials at 3 legs 4 wheels or at 3legs4wheels.com. And individually, our social handles are...
At Sean Cowper.
At Flood21.
At Kieran is boring.
And at Pablo100. And don't forget 3legs4wheels.com for the prediction league, and I will get the I will get the Silverstone entries up. Given your form lately, Kieran, you've probably done better not doing it this week.
Entirely about that. It is quite entertaining going, oh, how did I do? And always seeing my name at the bottom. Without fail. I'm not qualified. If you win the prediction league this year, have my seat. I will post you my radio stuff. You get a breakfast show with it as well.
Are you sure you work in radio? And on that note, all being well, with the wind in the right direction and a decent British Grand Prix, we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.